right over here. Come on up and don't be embarrassed. Dan, yeah, we want you to share too. I'm going to let you use the mic, and then this works. That doesn't work. Go ahead. Liz, who are you and what are you sharing?
I don't know what I'm sharing. I'm Liz Godwin. This is my church. I'm on staff with ISI. And we've had a ministry with Talk Time here, Conversational English. We've done that since 2001. And we're in need of volunteers. We need drivers from the Bellevue area especially, and conversation partners. We're always looking for people who want to mobilize their church and they happen to be near a campus. We would love to connect with you to see if we could start a ministry at your church. We just kind of need somebody that would spearhead it, and we can help you.
Were you able to get this thing going? It's going. It's awfully low. Liz, how many talk times do you know in the area?
It's hard to tell because some stop and some start, but we probably have close to 10 in the area. Mm-hmm. We have a couple more in Kirkland that have started up. Mm-hmm. There's a great one in Edmonds that needs more volunteers, is Dana, right here. Raise your hand, Dana. Mm-hmm. So if you're in Edmonds, Linwood area, okay.
We've already talked. Oh, that's okay. You got to line up. Yeah, that's fine. How many of you have ever been to a talk time or experienced it? I have. Some of you have. Good.
I thought this was an open mic.
It's open mic under my dictatorship. Yeah, get behind that handsome guy. Okay, come on. Okay, go.
Okay, just about the Edmonds Talk Time. We were running 25, 35, a good night. We'd have maybe 40 people over the past 15 years. This past year, we've seen it grow. Starting in the fall, the first night we had 66, then we had 68, then we had 72, then we had 85, then we had 115 students come out. That was our high, and we're now ranging somewhere between 60 to 80 each week. We need volunteers. We really need volunteers. So just to underline what Liz has said.
Conversation partners, drivers, people with food. We've also have ICF in the area, International Christian Fellowship. It's an open mic. And so we have 3 ICFs, one in Bellevue that meets twice a month, first and third Saturdays, one in Seattle that meets every Friday night, and one in Linwood right now that meets once a month on the second Saturday. We'd like to expand that, but we need another host. But ICF is kind of like a home church model, and it gives students opportunities to learn about who Jesus is in a non-threatening way. It's very low-key, but Talk Time's kind of like our fishing pond for people who are interested in learning the gospel, but we don't do preaching at Talk Time. But we find out who's interested and invite them to ICF and do Bible study.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. Yeah, Dan, nothing exciting happening in your ministry, I'm sure.
Nothing, not at all. Yeah, I am Dan Iverson, been missionary in Japan for 26 years, one of the pastors of Oyumino Christ Church in Chiba. A Japanese pastor said, what a great name for a town to start a church, Oyumino. If you ask the question, who will build this church? Oh, you, me, no. And so we use that all the time. So I'd like to make an appeal for harvest workers for the lost land of Japan. The second largest unreached people group in the world is Japan. And we're 0.22 Protestant worshipers. It stayed the same for 5 years. Worship attendance for Japan, according to Church Information Service, decreased 100 people last year. The population decreased 50,000 people in Japan. And as we all know, about 30,000 of those in the population were suicide. The tsunami killed 18,000 people, but suicide killed 30,000 people. And that's Japan. Japan is so lost, so needy, yet our Japan Evangelical Missionary Association, the number of missionaries have gone from 1,200 to 900 over a decade. if there were more and more Japanese pastors and national workers, that'd be great, but it's not. There are fewer Japanese pastors, and there are also fewer missionaries. Groups like this, as you see people that come on, most of our mission has gone from about 25 to 50 missionaries, and they're almost everyone they were short-termers who came to Japan for 2 weeks, came back for 2 years, and then came back as career missionaries doing college ministry, church planting, helping a Japanese pastor start a church, depending on their gifts and experience. You know, we're seeing churches grow in Japan. We see churches declining, but we're seeing in city center Tokyo and lots of places we are seeing churches grow and people coming to faith for the first time. Many churches over 100, over 150, over 200 worshipers in cities especially. So Japan, not only is the need great, we're seeing God work in Japan. Jesus promised many will come from the east and the west to sit at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I just would encourage folks to remember we need workers for the harvest in Japan. And in Vancouver, Mayumi-san told me that there's one church for every Japanese church for every 3,000 people, whereas Japan still is one church for every 16,000 people. We need church planners. We need churches.
Thanks so much. It's great to have you here for the first time. Dan says next year he's coming back with, how many did you say? Yeah, great. Hi, Ian, you're going to share? Come on up. Thanks so much.
I thought that would be a good one for me to follow. My name is Ian Smith, and I was recently appointed by Converge Worldwide with Japan as my focus. And I'll hopefully be launching out in 2014, and got some big boots to fill. There's been some great missionaries with Converge, the Baptist General Conference in the past, and a couple of them are here with us today that are either serving with Converge or have served faithfully with Converge, and I'm really excited about continuing that heritage. And I would just ask you to pray for me as he already prayed for more people to go out into the harvest field, that you pray for me as I continue to raise my support and network and make good connections. So if you would pray for me for that, I would really appreciate it. I have some cards out there that you can give to people who might be interested in supporting somebody new in Japan. Thank you.
How many are right now in the support raising phase? Paul, why don't you come up here a little? We are live streaming this, and all the world needs to hear you guys and see you guys. Yeah. So you're just starting. You're married to a famous ISI worker, and now you're on the course yourself.
Yes, well, I became a ministry rep with ISI not so long ago, and now I'll be going to new staff orientation in March. Then after that, we hope we have this finally figured out as to what ministry we can do in Japan and what agencies to work with. And we'd like to wind up in the Kobe, Osaka area doing student returnee facilitation and ESL ministry and helping with church planning.
Yeah, great. You haven't even started on the percent, or do you have a percent of for your support?
Well, as if this were a community property state, we'll be sharing the support that Liz has, but of course we will need more. As I'm working full-time, and I will have to transition out of that at some point.
Yeah, good. I've been trying to live off my wife's salary too, and that's a good. Let's see, I saw Steve over here, Steve Sakanashi. Are you around, Steve, or did you cut out? Yeah, are you going to share, or do we have to coax you? Okay, great. You're tall enough, you can stay down there, I guess.
Yeah, I have my boots on too, so that's kind of cheating. I'm not this tall. My name's Steve Sakanashi. I run a ministry called the Megumi Initiative, and our goal is to be a part of church planning in Japan. And I think what's a little bit distinct about what we're trying to do is that we really want to focus on creating a pathway between the 99% of people who are unchurched and those in the body of Christ. I think right now, especially in Japan, there's a pretty big gap between those two groups. It's different from what you would find in the US. And so we really feel the need to take the love of Christ and make that concrete in expressions throughout the culture. So we're focusing on business, arts, athletics, education, social events, and explicit Bible teaching as well, as a way that we can basically bless communities in the name of Christ and develop relationships with people where they're at, providing spaces that would kind of correspond to where a person's at in their interest in Christ, all the way out from no interest, but perhaps an interest in business or an interest in English, all the way into belonging to a local church. And so we're starting here in Seattle with students at the University of Washington, and then in a few years, plan to take a team out to Tokyo and continue doing the same thing.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. And the name of your group, where can we find you on the website?
You can find us at megumijapan.org, so just those two words. And then I didn't mention, but we do run an entrepreneurship program called Sakai Creator. So if you go to sakaicreator.org, you can find out information there too.
A lot of great stuff happening. Thanks, Steve, for sharing that. Is Izumi around? She kind of peered in and, oh yeah. Are you going to share about your ministry of all of Canada and British Columbia and Vancouver? You're not. I thought that's why you came, to be able to share what God is doing. You got it? All right, come on up here. You're not as tall as Steve. Great.
Okay,
Thanks so much.
thank you.
Give it to us, man.
I am doing a diaspora ministry in Canada, and currently we are, or I am, there isn't any team actually, so that I do work with different kind of people, with the church, the local church, English-speaking church, as well as Japanese church, as well that student leaders as a Christian in a different university that we call JBS, Japanese Bible Study Group, that is cooperating with international student outreach group in each campus. So that international outreach group, when they receive Japanese person or students in their group to learn Bible in English, we go in there with the Japanese student is going to go there to have relationship, to build a relationship, to be a friend, to invite them to the Japanese Bible study group so that their experience related to the Bible, it's not going to be a Western experience. That's what we're looking at, that each experience is not going to be only the Western experience, but it's going to be a life experience. So that, as I mentioned a little bit on Thursday, that there is language school students who's a Christian, there are four of them, decided to start Japanese Bible study group in downtown language school, which was a little bit of a challenge because you can't do that within their school. But we found out that there is a local church in downtown who does Alpha course, so that they're taking all their friends to the Alpha course, to those group, and let them speak and let them be in the community with the Christians, and come out, and in the same week they get together and debrief in Japanese, so that those students is going to be able to learn English as well as Christianity, and their understanding is not going to be something they made up, but cooperatively studied with a Christian in Japanese. And also this summer we're trying to do a conference.
Take your time.
No, I will finish. We're doing a conference from 28th of June to 1st of July for any generation Japanese Christian to get together in Canada.
Great. Hey, thanks so much. 失礼しました. Let's see. You don't have anything to share, do you? Okay, come on. Give it to us, man. That's great. Without you, we are nothing.
I have three things I
who
want
are
to
you?
share. My name is Setsu Shimizu, and I am with Japanese Christian Fellowship Network and also with Overseas Missionary Fellowship. And I'm with Izumi with the Japan Diaspora work. I have three things that I want to share you with. JCFN is a ministry that attempts to connect those returnees back home. So we try to do follow-up before they go back and also to connect them to fellowship in Japan. So please do stop by at the booth there. The second one that I wanted to introduce you to is one of the ministries that JCFN does, which is Equippers Conference, which is coming up at the end of this year. This will be our 12th Equipper Conference. Majority of the people are young and young in heart, and, but we have from kids program all the way to retired people. But our target is mainly students who are going back to Japan. But one of the things that we do through this conference is we equip them. So those who come to the camp is not participants, they're there to serve. So by serving, they're equipped. They learn about the Bible in Japanese, they learn about how to work in a team, how to serve each other. And so please do send your Japanese people, or bring them. We work with RJC. RJC is in charge of the English-speaking track. So they give sort of mini RJC in Equippers Conference. So I think you are able to experience both RJC there, but as well as seeing your students being equipped. So we welcome you there. And the third thing that I wanted to introduce you to is something that JCFN is being a part of. It's called All Nations Returnees Conference. Some of you have been there. We just had the third one this past November. And we thought about, okay, how many people have been back in Japan from overseas? Not just from North America, but from around the world. And we did the third time, and we gathered about 700 returnees, including their friends as well. And we're just really amazed how the Lord is working in and among and through returnees. So the churches in Japan are very excited how the Lord is working. So if you could continue to pray for the ministries that had started out of All Nations. Now, because of All Nations, they got together. So they have meetings in Hokkaido, Tohoku area, and down to Kyushu. So if you could remember those small ministries, that would be great. And everything is on the webpage, and if you can come to our booth there, I can give you more information. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. Yeah, I was able to attend Equippers Conference the first time, and Setsu is always proud about it because she can't get on the planning committee because she's too old. And I was on the stage for a little bit, but they had to put a screen up over me so nobody knew how old I was. It's amazing, the youth, the way they're challenged. I wish we could capture that in RJC and move from elder to younger. And Takata-san, other people, yeah, come on up. No, come on up. Okay, thank you very much. No.
Yeah, I stand up here to be, you may heard the city named Ishinomaki. It's the most devastated area by tsunami. We've been working in Ishinomaki areas for last 2 years, almost 2 years, for relief ministries there. And several of our church, Presbyterian Church in Japan, a Presbyterian Mission, Japan Mission, whatever. Anyway, that Evangelical Free Church in Japan, Evangelical Free Church in America, that put money together to purchase the lot in front of the station. The church that Ishinomaki Christ Church was using, and this was a renting facility. And this house has to be demolished, and so we bought this to let their church to continue, but also to make this place to be a center for the facilitator of the Christian ministries from Ishinomaki to the along the coastal line to the north. And I'm the director of the board of Ishinomaki Christian Center. One of my responsibilities is to raise fund. And so I will ask you guys to pray for us. This project will be done. And, because of, one thing, and just that this in the area, it was 120,000 people were living, and many were killed and destroyed the towns. But because of this tragedy, many international volunteers have come to, and they are working there. We have been seeing the great cooperative ministries there. And we would like to keep this cooperative ministries to continue so that Ishinuma Christian Center to be a facilitator for this. So that please pray for this program. And in Christian Shimbun newspaper, one article was already done in the Christian Shimbun. So please just ask you to continue to pray for this project to be used and for His glory.
Yeah, thank you. How can they connect with you? Do you have a website?
Just put in the MTW section. I put just small, just project.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Super.
so still you can access to my Masahiro_Takata at wycliffe.net. You can just access to.
Good. And any of these contacts, if you forget about it, email RJC and we'll be glad to help. Aroma Ministries, I believe, is coming up. Thank you so much, Rocky and Marla, for sharing the music. It's been great.
Just wanted to let you know that there is another aspect of our ministry outside of the music that we do, and that is evangelism in Kitakyushu. And when we're not traveling on the road and doing concerts, we've been reaching out to unbelievers in Kitakyushu. But we've been in the States for the last 6 months on deputation and raising support because we feel like God is leading us to a new place in our ministry. And when we go back in March, we're going to be stepping out to plant a new church. And so we would love your prayer support in that. What the church we've been a part of has been being planted, and we were helping in that process. But now we're going out on our own and leading this initiative. But we just really feel called that my new mantra is that we are not keepers of the aquarium, we are fishers of men. And so we want to plant and be the kind of church that is just about the gospel and making it relevant to Japanese people where they are in their life right now, and not just maintaining the fish we have in our aquarium, but reaching out and evangelizing. And so we have many visions about that. One of them is the children's ministry that I shared with you yesterday. God's really been using our opportunity to minister to elementary school kids to reach the whole family, actually, through English classes and stuff that we've been doing with elementary kids. Their whole families get involved because elementary kids are still interacting with their parents every day, and their parents will still come and see what their kids are doing. And I think Japan has been, they've got the whole kindergarten thing covered with Christian kindergartens. I mean, they don't have it all covered, but they have those, and we have junior highs and high schools and universities. But we are doing a very poor job of reaching elementary school kids, and it's the perfect time to be planting those seeds in their lives. And it also translates into being able to reach out to their parents too. So that's a part of our vision if you want to hear more about that. But please do pray as we go back in March and start a new church plant.
Thanks so much. Yeah, God bless. Yeah. Next thing I think we should announce Rocky Marla's CDs as well too, because we didn't get to do that last night.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Yeah. So we have a table out there with 4 of our albums, and buying those goes to help our ministry too. And of course, you're welcome to donate money to what we are doing in Japan. But we have 2 albums that are acoustic music. Rocky's playing the guitar with one other guy, and it's great background music for your devotional time or whatever. We have a bilingual praise album, and then we have our latest release of our original songs.
Good. Wow,
Yeah.
good. Thanks for reminding us, Ken. If any of you would like my latest CD, you're welcome to ask me about it afterwards. It's very dangerous. I know I see your hand, Liz, but it's very dangerous to ask Andy Game to come up here and share about the net. But did he skip out? Huh? Oh, there he is. Yeah, very dangerous. You know, you only got a short time to tell us everything about the new media, but a lot of people didn't hear that, Andy.
Thank you, Don.
Time already started when you were back there, so the clock.
Wow. Okay, how do we share Jesus through the internet? How can we tell about the hope that we have in Jesus Christ today? We've been working together with Jesus.net, and we've been creating new websites and new media that can really make it easy and accessible for any Japanese person, anytime, anywhere, to really connect online and find out about who God is, how they can have a relationship with God. So if you've got Japanese students or Japanese friends, you can tell them to go to hopeforliving.net is our main website. We did a lot of films with Tohoku, testimonies of people who lived through the earthquakes and tsunamis, and you can watch the films online there. We have a website called knowinggod.jp. They can find out how they can have a relationship with God. They can do an online course as well. It's called Why Jesus. They can meet a real Christian online. They can do a study together. So more and more, we just want to use all the technologies, all the media, and bring it right to where people are. Excuse me. So we'd ask you to really pray for us, and you can go to Facebook, you can find JesusNet Japan, and you can like us and share us, and you can watch the films, and just put the word out there, and let's raise the hope for Japan, and let's pray that we'll see many more Japanese people, especially young people, connect through their smartphones and iPhones and every way they can. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, you coughed. I thought you were through. I was just about going to grab the mic. Thanks, Andy. Yeah. Let's see, Liz, did you have something else? And I also we want to hear from Steve with the Plenary ministry. If you could just share briefly on that too, Steve. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, JJ is our Japanese student outreach ministry here in Seattle. We got started this ministry 6 years ago to reach out to mainly to the Japanese-speaking exchange student from Japan. They're here for 10 months to several years, and we want them to know Christ while they are here. So we do monthly gathering with testimony, a lot of support. We get a lot of support from other churches, local churches in greater Seattle area by them providing food and rice and all that, and of course prayers. Yeah, and we do Bible study for those people who are interested in studying Bible. And we do this ministry with relationship based. So we don't want to just have event. We want to have relationship with those individuals. And we started with that vision, and we're really feeling that that's the key to reach out to the student. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you want to come, Steve? Thanks so much for coming so far. Who are you? What are you doing?
Somehow, even though you're such a skinny man like me, you're a little bit scary when you're standing so close.
You ain't seen anything yet. Keep talking.
I'm Steve, my wife is Jen, and we've got two little ones. If you've seen them running around, they're 2 years old and 8 months. We serve with Torchbearers Yamanakako. Anybody heard of Plenary Bible Centers or Torchbearers? Wow, that's great. First of all, I want to introduce to you our complete staff. That's myself, my wife, and Yukiko, could you stand up? I would like you to give a round of applause to the Lord because you guys prayed for us last year at this conference that we would get Japanese staff, and Yukiko is the answer to that prayer. She speaks wonderful English, but this is her first time overseas, outside of Japan, so please take the opportunity to get to know her and welcome her. We run a Bible school, short-term Bible school, 2 months. We run conferences and retreats. We really have a heart to create a place for personal spiritual retreat as well in Yamanakako, Japan, at the base of Mount Fuji. Our family's calling, I would say, would be to really invest in relationships in the community of Yamanakako. The population is 5,000, and the people there are hungry for relationship. But we need staff, and we need short-term, long-term volunteers to help in the work there. There's so much need in that area, and we lack the resources and the time to fill that need. So I really encourage any of you that have interest to send a short-term team or long-term people who are interested in working there. We just have a burden for expressing Christ through real relationship with the Japanese. Something that is really on our hearts as well is we want to be an agent for encouraging the Japanese to be full-time Christian ministers regardless of their occupation. I'm a carpenter, but I'm living in Japan and I'm doing the Lord's work, and we want to encourage Japanese teachers and Japanese farmers in our community and salarymen and whoever they are, wherever they come from, to release them for ministry in Japan and not feel like they need to become a pastor or a missionary full-time in order to be doing exactly what the Lord wants them to do. So that's kind of a focus in our ministry. So please pray with us as we're there, and if you have any questions or want to get in touch with us, we have some, not business cards, we left Japan in a little bit of a rush, but we've got some contact information there, or you can find us Torchbearers or Cape and Ray Japan. Google us there and you can find out what you need to know. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah. We're trying to do three things I mentioned this morning. We want to help you network with the family with similar desires and goals. We want to encourage you. We also want to provide resources to help you do a better job. One thing, we don't have this year a representative from Pocket Testament League, though Naoko is actively involved in the website in Japanese. But if you don't know Pocket Testament League, you'll find their booth over toward the front. Gospels of John in Japanese are now available. They're a great tool. I hope you'll pick them up. You'll join Pocket Testament League and you'll help distribute. American Bible Societies are great organizations. Gideons have a wonderful track record of passing out New Testaments, but the Gospel of John in a short, well-decorated pamphlet makes a great gift, and not only in English or Japanese. And segueing in this, I believe that Dennis is standing up, leaning against the wall, ready to talk about hope, right? Come on up, you're next. That was the part of the resources, Pocket Testament League, we got Japan Net, we've got hope. Thanks, Dennis.
Actually, I was holding up the wall.
Oh.
Hey, we have some materials out there that are free for you. They're Book of Hope. I stick them out there every year, but I have 200 of the children's version and 199, and thanks, Don, and 200 of the youth version. And what the Book of Hope is the story of Jesus from beginning to end, taken from the four Gospels. It includes everything but doesn't duplicate anything. And the children's version, if you have any housewives that have kids, you want to get some of these. The housewives help their kids, and it turns into a tremendous evangelism tool. This is mostly for young people, but it's anybody will read it. It has a number of articles inside of it, as well as the story of Jesus in English and in Japanese. So it's both. This one is just Japanese for elementary school kids, so they have to know a certain amount of kanji, but not very much. And this is for mostly youth. It includes 12 different articles as well as the story of Jesus, and it's just a phenomenal resource. So please, I have 200 of each. Don't make me take them home. I've got a truck big enough to carry them, but I'd love to leave them all here. So I've got a lot more than what's on the table out there. So don't be shy. Take as many as you need. And there's one other resource which is I don't just sit this out because it tends to get legs and walk off on me. These are the ESL version of the Book of Hope. It uses the Book of Hope to help teach English, and so you're actually using the story of Jesus to teach English. And this is a suggested donation of $12, and, which is a good deal, because I bought these a while back when the yen rate was a lot better than it is now. So if I was paying full rate now, it'd be much different. But anyhow, you're welcome. Just let me know if you're interested in one of these. I'm happy to pull it out for you. And I was going to just say real quickly, Taro is going to come up here in a few minutes and going to do a sushi demonstration he'll be sharing tonight. He has a book out here, and this is a beautiful book. You need to take a look at this out on the table. Asking a suggested donation of $20, but he's donating half of everything to RJC. So half of everything you give is like giving in the offering to RJC to help the programs of RJC, or help RJC to continue reaching Japanese and helping you to reach Japanese. And can I see this real quick? You got it. In our packets, he may have already talked about it, but I want him to talk about it again. Operation Japan. You have a CD in your packets. You got 3 minutes.
You're timing me? Oh, we talked about it this morning, but in your packets there's a CD called Operation Japan. It's in English and Japanese. It's never been done before and probably never be done again. It's a great tool to help you pray for Japan from Hokkaido to Okinawa. Thanks very much. I was going to say also another tool is Risk Rider, but I'm not going to say that. The God's Fingerprints of Japan. Most of you know Daniel Kikawa. He's been here for a number of years. The last 2 years he hasn't been able to come. If you don't have God's Fingerprints in Japan, it's a great tool, again, these resources to help share with Japanese Christians or people that are seeking God, showing that the God of creation has been in Japan from the beginning. He's not a new entry into the Japanese life. And so pick that up, it's free. And Andy, thanks so much for coming with us. And is your wife here, or did she skip out? Yeah. Okay, please stand up. Most of us don't know that Andy is married, so I just wanted to make sure we all know that. Thank you so much for coming and your great ministry.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to briefly share the Risk Ride. It's now in 3 languages. We got English, Chinese, and Japanese. And 6,000 of these were used in our short campaign, mostly in Tohoku. The tool is designed where you have to share the gospel after you've shared the manga personally. So it takes a little 1-hour training. I'll be doing a training in Fukushima in about 2 weeks again. But the tool's been expanded in a lot of places, and it's going to the particularly Eastern Europe where suicide's particularly high. So appreciate your prayers for that. It's wonderful to see something coming from Japan now to be used because Japan's got the suicide issue too, and to bless places that are struggling with that. Let's see, I want to just challenge anyone here. I'm looking for churches for pilot groups because I'll get a shipment of English coming, and or you can use Japanese or Chinese, and we're doing pilot groups where you'd be having a training with your 18 to 30-year-olds, your church, and then everyone takes a risk and shares it with a friend, and we like to see what happens with that. So I can supply people with the tool and how to do that if you'll see me somewhere around here. Thank you.
Great. What's your next project? You've gone through so many loops of ministry. It's been amazing. What's your next great mountain to climb? Surfing in Hawaii. We're looking for it. Risk Surf, he's going to call it. I can see it now. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, great to have you. Okay, I want to close with a little time of prayer around your tables for some of the things you've heard, but are there others who really want to share some blessing or some ministry at this point? Okay, thanks so much for this. As I say, I enjoy this time the very most because I get to hear your heart and what God is doing in special ways all across the United States and Canada and Japan. Let's remember some of these requests, the people that are raising support, got ministries, resources, and you just grab a table or two. We'll spend about 5 minutes and I'll close. And let's just ask God to bless these various ministries that have shared.